Colin, Sonny, Larry. Didn't you and he used to be the best of friends?
We're still the best of friends.
No, you're not.
Who says we're not?
Sit somewhere else.
Top of the morning to you, laddies. My name is Jacksepticeye. Welcome back to...
Sorry, just getting caught up with my videos. Anyways, welcome back to another review. This time we take a look at the Banshees of Inisherin. You know, even though I've seen this movie, you'd think I would know how to say this word by now, but it still somehow gets jumbled in my mind. But we're not here to talk about my speech impediments. We're here to see if this film is worthy of taking home Best Picture at the Oscars. Let's dive in and find out.
Now, I'm sitting here next to you, and if you're going back inside, I'm following you inside, and if you're going home, I'm following you there too. Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done to you.
Can't talk about the history of the Banshees of Inisherin without first talking about director Martin McDonagh. Martin began his film career by creating a short film called Six Shooter, starring Brendan Gleeson. The film went on to win Best Live Action Short at the 2006 Academy Awards and got Martin an agreement with Focus Features to film In Bruges. Now, In Bruges was where I and many others started to pay attention to Martin. The dark comedy starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson is one of my favorite films of all time. It went on to be nominated for many awards, including a win for Colin at the 2008 Golden Globes. It was also nominated for Original Screenplay at the 80th Academy Awards, losing out to Milk. Fast forward a few years and a couple of accolades later, and Martin has reunited with Colin and Brendan for the Banshees of Inisherin. Always knowing that he wanted to reunite the two, the script for the film was originally created some time ago, but kept being refined until Martin was happy with it. The film actually started out as a play called The Banshees of Inisherin, but was never actually published, so Martin kept the name, tweaking it slightly. Now that we have the finished product, does all the time and hard work pay off? Well, as a fan of In Bruges, I can say this is definitely another strong showcase of his.
If you don't stop talking to me, and if you don't stop bothering me, or sending your sister or your priest to bother me.
I didn't send me sister to bother you, did I? She has her own mind. Although I did send the priest when you had me there.
Set on the fictional island of Inisherin, the Irish Civil War is coming to a close. Not that it matters to the people who reside on the island, as they only ever see the fighting from a distance. Two best friends, Colm and Padraig, are living their life as carefree as possible, when one day, Padraig decides he no longer wants to be friends with Colm. This decision sets the two on a path of madness, as one tries to understand the reason for his best friend's coldness all of a sudden, and the other not understanding why the other just can't accept the fact he doesn't want to be friends anymore. As if that wasn't bad enough, things get so crazy that Padraig has to threaten to cut off his own fingers each time Colm decides to bother him in some way or form. Is he telling the truth? What has led him to make these decisions? What will Colm do in retaliation? That's what you need to watch the movie to find out. And let me remind you, this is a dark comedy. Right off the bat, the absolute best thing, apart from the writing of course, is just how interesting these characters are. The movie is able to subvert expectations to what you think of each person. You may begin by being sympathetic towards Colm and his situation, only to later understand why Padraig is doing what he's doing. Meanwhile, Colm's sister plays the voice of reason, mainly saying what it is most of us are thinking. The actress Carrie Condon nails the performance of this character, and usually is able to steal the show from both Colin and Brendan. That being said, both Colin and Brendan are the stars of the show here. Colin in particular is able to convey so much in the movie's runtime, from simple naivety to sympathetic to what he becomes by the end. It is so fascinating seeing his journey from start to finish, and also see the sadness of his transformation. Barry Keoghan also pulls his own weight, playing the village clown in a way. I think it's easy to label him as so, but there is also a complexity to his character, and he's another you may feel one way towards at the beginning and another way towards the end. The whole thing actually plays out like an old tragic theater play, just a lot funnier. And that's the other big thing about the film. Its script knows when to make something funny and when to deliver the scene with more heart, or, going in the opposite direction, more severity. By the end, it's easy to look back at the beginning of the movie and see how much has truly changed on this small island. It's brilliant storytelling, with my only real gripe for it being that maybe it doesn't take as much full advantage of its setting as I feel it could have. You have this beautiful island, but by the end, I feel we only ever explored a small section of it. I get that maybe it isn't the focus of what it's trying to show, but for a movie that location is important to its story, I feel I did not come away with the most understanding of it. I feel many won't care, but it's something I did notice.
Well, you can get out of my confessional right now, so you can. And I'm not forgiving you any of these things until the next time, so I'm not.
Well, I better not be dying in the meantime then, eh, Father? I'll be pure fucked.
The film is beautiful to look at. I've always wanted to travel, and the first place I always said I want to visit if I could would be Ireland, just because of, well, the way this movie looks. I'm not sure how to describe my feelings for it other than it's history right in front of your eyes. It feels like there are ghosts around every corner ready to tell you their tale. I know that sounds silly, but it's what I think when I'm looking at the sets and the location of this film. Now, for many, I'm sure the look of the film is going to seem boring. There's fields, a few buildings, and not much else. And granted, I do wish we could have experienced more, but it's because the few things that are there are so interesting that I'm a bit disappointed we don't get to explore further. Casual moviegoers might not think about this at all, but I think this is more for film junkies to appreciate. The soundtrack is also pretty good as well. I can't say I fell in love with it, but for what it sets out to do, I think it does it fine. I read that Martin actually did not want the score to sound too Irish since he's not a fan of the whole fiddling around sound, but I feel it could have achieved its purpose even with more Irish roots in the music. Personally, I think it's a missed opportunity, but it got the nomination, so what do I know?
It's about one boring man leaving another man alone, that's all.
One boring man, you're all feckin' boring. With your piddling grievances over nothing, you're all feckin' boring.
The Banshees of Inisherin is another terrific work from Martin. I don't feel as strongly about it as I do in Bruges, but what is there is so strong that I can't deny that this is a very solid experience. It's one of those tales you almost dread to go through again just because you know where the road passes by, but it's also that feeling that makes it so fascinating. I hope Martin reunites these actors again in the future because I would love to see how else their tale can be told. I give The Banshees of Inisherin a 4.5 out of 5 with a recommendation to buy it. It's not gonna be for everyone, but if you have any interest in Irish culture, dark comedies, or even just these actors, you may find plenty to enjoy here. I was originally going to invite Damien to the finale here to have like a fake fight with him to parody the film, but then we got into a real fight because he didn't want to do that. So, mission accomplished, I guess. Well, at least I could always fight with you, Sharktholomew. Oh, that's right. I don't remember where I put him. Anyways, come back tomorrow for another review. Yeah.